There was a girl named Isla, who lived in a small, sleepy town, where the hills rolled lazily against the horizon, and the wind whispered secrets through the narrow alleys. From the very beginning, Isla's world was one of colors. She carried in her mind a world that felt larger than the town itself, filled with endless skies, distant oceans, and places she had never seen. Even as a child, she would sit on the rooftop of her house for hours, staring at the clouds, imagining the stories behind each one. She drew her dreams in secret, on scraps of paper, on the walls of her room, in the margins of her notebooks. She dreamed of painting stories that made people feel, that made them stop and think, that touched a piece of their soul they hadn't known existed. But the world around her was not as welcoming as her imagination. Her parents, though loving, were practical to a fault. Her mother would sigh and say, "Isla, you need something real, something stable. Dreams don't pay bills." Her father, busy with his own struggles, often shook his head and muttered, "You're too young to think of such things. Focus on school. Focus on survival." And at school, the other children sometimes laughed when she spoke of oceans and sunsets she wanted to see with her own eyes. "Why dream of things you'll never have?" they asked. "It's pointless." At first, Isla tried to ignore them, but slowly, their voices began to weigh her down. She started questioning herself. Maybe she was foolish. Maybe her dreams were too big. Maybe she would fail. Maybe the world was right to tell her to stop. Still, even as doubt crept into her mind, Isla couldn't stop dreaming. Every night, after everyone in her house had gone to sleep, she would take out her paintbrushes, her pencils, her worn sketchbooks, and escape into the worlds she created. She painted the stars as she imagined them, enormous and full of stories. She painted the ocean, endless and shimmering, with waves that whispered secrets only she could hear. She painted faces, faces of people she had never met but somehow understood. In those moments, she was free. And in those moments, she remembered who she truly was, a girl who could not give up on her dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. But life had a way of testing even the strongest hearts. One year, Isla's town was struck by a drought. Crops failed, businesses struggled, and even the simplest comforts became scarce. Her parents were forced to prioritize survival over everything else. The supplies for her art, the paints, the canvases, the brushes, became luxuries she could no longer afford. The town seemed to whisper the same words over and over. "Art won't feed you. Stop wasting time." Isla felt the weight of the world pressing down on her chest. She considered giving up, just to make life easier for her family. For a moment, she thought about hiding her sketches and selling her supplies to buy necessities. But when she picked up her pencil one night, staring at the blank page, she realized she couldn't. Giving up her dreams felt like giving up herself. And so, she decided that even if the world tried to silence her, she would fight. Her fight was quiet at first. She painted in secret, using charcoal from broken sticks when she had no pencils, and scraps of cardboard when she had no paper. She learned to mix colors from the smallest amounts of paint she had left. Her fingers were stained, her hands were sore, and often she felt exhausted. But each night, she created something. Each night, she whispered to herself, "One day, I will show the world." Years passed. Isla grew older, and so did her resolve. She worked in the fields with her parents during the day, helping them in whatever way she could. She went to school, graduated, and found a small job at a local shop to support her family. Yet, even with every practical step she took, her dreams never left her side. In fact, they became sharper, clearer, more urgent. She was no longer just painting for herself. She was painting for the girl. She used to be the girl who had looked at the stars and promised she would not give up. Then, one spring morning, as the town slowly came back to life after a long winter of struggle, something extraordinary happened. A man arrived, carrying a small bag. Dressed in a coat that looked like it had traveled far and wide. He introduced himself as a traveling art curator, someone who searched for talent in unexpected places. He had heard rumors of a young woman in the town who painted as though she were capturing the very soul of the world. Curious, he asked to see her work. Isla hesitated. She hadn't shown anyone her paintings in years. She feared judgment, rejection, the same voices that had haunted her childhood. But something in the man's eyes, a quiet, patient respect, made her hand shake only a little as she brought out her canvases. He looked at each one, moving slowly, as if tasting every color, every stroke. His eyebrows lifted, his lips curved into a smile, and he said simply, These are not just paintings. They are living stories. Who taught you to see the world like this? Isla could barely speak. The words she had wanted to hear her whole life, words that told her dreams mattered, finally came. She realized that the years of struggle, of quiet persistence, of secret nights spent painting in the shadows, had all led to this moment. She had fought the doubts, the fears, the world itself, and her dreams had survived. Soon, her work was displayed in galleries far beyond her town. People marveled at her paintings, at the way she could make them feel the sky, the ocean, the heartbeat of strangers she had never met. Her name traveled across cities, whispered by critics, collectors, and ordinary people alike. But Isla never painted for fame, or for money, or even for approval. She painted for the girl she had been, this girl who refused to give up. She painted for the dreams that had whispered to her in the darkness, telling her to hold on just a little longer. Even after her success, Isla never forgot the struggle that had brought her here. She returned to her town often, teaching children to paint, encouraging them to dream beyond the limits that others imposed. She told them stories of her own doubts, her own fears, and how she had fought them one brushstroke at a time. And when she spoke, the children listened not just because she was famous, but because they saw in her the reflection of their own hidden dreams. Isla's life became a testament to persistence. She understood something that many people never do. Dreams are not fragile. They are relentless. They need care, yes, but more than anything, they need courage. Courage to continue when no one believes in you. Courage to paint when the canvas is blank. Courage to stand tall even when the wind blows against you. Dreams are not gentle whispers. They are fires that demand to be fed. And Isla had learned to feed hers, even when the world told her she could not. Years later, when people spoke of her, they did not just speak of her art. They spoke of the girl who had fought her own doubts, who had fought fear, who had fought the world to hold on to something beautiful. They spoke of the girl who proved that dreams, no matter how impossible they seem, are worth every struggle, every tear, every lonely night. Isla never stopped painting. She never stopped dreaming. And every now and then, she would return to her old rooftop, staring at the stars, just as she had as a little girl. And when she did, she would smile, knowing that she had not just reached her dreams, she had lived them, fought for them, and in doing so, had become the girl she was always meant to be. She became a legend not because she had achieved fame, but because she had shown the world that fighting for your dreams is the bravest thing a person can do. That even when life is hard, even when the world doubts you, even when your own heart trembles, holding on to your dreams is never a mistake. And so, Isla's story remained, whispered in the winds of her town, in the quiet of the night, in the hearts of those who dared to dream. She was, and always would be, the girl who kept fighting her dreams not because she had no fear, but because she had learned that some dreams are worth every battle, and every battle is worth the victory of simply believing.